Hello everybody, how's it going? Ben Gothard here, and today I'm joined with Oliver Kenyon from England. How you doing today, Oliver?
Very well, thank you. Honoured to be on your show. Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely, man. The pleasure's all mine. So let's jump right in and let's get started. My first question for you, Oliver, is what is your story?
Okay, so how long have you got? So my story is from the kind of beginning and how I kind of got onto the entrepreneurial and online space. Is I was originally a chef. I trained as a chef. I was a chef for 10 years, and basically, as you probably know, as a chef, you work ridiculous hours and you don't get paid very much. So I was kind of in that trap, which a lot of people fall into, where you just work and work and work. And basically, I became kind of fascinated with the internet and websites and all stuff like that. Funny enough, I actually got onto the online kind of space through rap music. I used to love rap music, and I used to like participate in forums and communities. And all I was doing is chefing 24/7, and then any spare hours. So like as a chef, you do split shifts. So you do like 8 o'clock in the morning till say 3 or 4 o'clock, and then you go back in at 6 until the evening. Sometimes as late as like 12, 1 o'clock, crazy hours. But every spare hour I was online. I was participating in these communities, and the kind of way I first started my first website and sort of fell into the kind of marketing side of things was I almost had a kind of eureka moment when I thought, do you know what, I can actually probably run a better community than one I'm on. So I started up a forum. Like forums have always been my thing. Forums were my kind of like first love. And I don't know if you guys over in the US, I think you probably have something similar, but you have something called like Dragon's Den,
Yeah, that it's kind of like
where
Shark
people
Tank.
like pitch like a business kind of thing, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like Shark Tank, where like Mark
There you go,
Cuban.
Shark Tank. That's the one. That's the one. So I had a Shark Tank slash Dragon's Den moment with my dad and my grandfather, where I pitched them. I think it was 40% of my business for £120. So that's probably around about like 150 US. And that basically covered hosting a domain and a vBulletin license to build my own community. And kind of cliche, but I haven't really looked back since. Typically failed a lot of times, had a lot of websites, a lot of different projects. My dad still claims to have 40% in my current company, which I'd like to think is worth a little bit more than what it was back then. But yeah, that's basically how I kind of got onto the online space. And since then, I've worked on various different websites, different projects, a lot of communities, a lot of forums. And my kind of first real success was with a community.
Absolutely, that's fantastic. So I wanna jump back a little bit into your history, because I think there's some things that we can dive a little bit more into. You said that you were a chef for 10 years. Can you maybe talk a little bit about your upbringing and how you got to that point of being a chef?
Of course, yeah. I mean, I started working pretty young. I was 13. I don't think it wasn't even legal to work till you were like 16 in the UK. But I think that's possibly something my kind of parents instilled in me, to go out and kind of earn my own money. I came from a really, good background. My parents were both working hard, nice family home. But I always had to earn my own money. I wasn't ever given anything, although we kind of had a relatively good amount of money as a family. Like every Christmas and birthday, my friends would get PlayStations and such. I wouldn't get any of that. I'd have to like go out and earn it, which I kind of back then I didn't thank my parents for at all. But now I kind of see why they did that, and I kind of really saw the value in money. So as soon as I was like 13, I was out working as a pizza chef originally, and then I kind of just grew into the business on the side of school. Education was never for me. I'm very anti-education in a way, and we can go into that in more detail if you wish. But I was a bit of a class clown. I wasn't great at school. I wasn't like bad. Wasn't doing like awful things or like skipping school much. But like I never really listened unless it had my full attention. I used to like mess around and as a lot of people do. But school wasn't for me. So I actually, if I kind of concentrated in school, I probably could have got good grades, but I never really put in much effort. So I did the bare minimum, passed my exams, got into what we have over here. It's called like A level, so it's like the next level of education. But I dropped out after a year just because I've had enough. And yeah, and then I carried on chefing. got out the educational system, carried on chefing, and eventually, it took me a long time. I've only been doing the online thing full time for about 5 years now. So it took me a long time to get out of that kind of, I don't want to say 9 to 5 because it's not a 9 to 5 job, but that kind of cycle where you're stuck in a job. And I was.
Absolutely. So you said at 13 was when you had your first job.
Yes.
And your parents always taught you to earn your own money and taught you about money.
Yes.
Can you talk about some of those things, those fundamental concepts that you learned? Because I think for a lot of entrepreneurs that are starting up, while you may have learned that early, they still might be struggling with those same concepts. So can you go into to detail about what you learned and why it's so important?
Yeah, definitely. And I think you touched on the note where you say it's why it's so important. And that's what I kind of like, I mentor for a few people, local people as well. They ask me advice. And that's one thing I kind of always say, because again, I don't want to keep saying it, but this is why I'm so kind of anti-education in the UK, because you don't get taught that stuff, right? So although you might get taught what the pi r squared means and what the circumference of a circle is and stuff like that, which to be honest I don't think I've ever used, you don't get taught that the value of money. You don't get taught how to earn money. You don't get taught about taxes. You don't get taught that you should save money. You don't get taught how to sign a lease agreement on an apartment or your first property, things like that, which I think are far more important personally. I'm not knocking if education is your route, that's the way you want to go down, that's fine. But for me, those things are far more important, and you almost have to, learn the hard way by kind of getting chucked in. And I've learned the hard way on a lot of things, trust me. But one thing I didn't learn the hard way on was the financial side, which I'm really grateful to my parents, because they taught me from a young age to kind of look after your money, save a bit, earn your own money, and only get something when you truly deserve it, when you work from it, when it's your own money. And that, like I say, back in the day, kind of pissed me off a bit. Like I was like, oh, why can't I have the latest PlayStation? Why can't I do this thing? Or why do I have to have a PlayStation for Christmas and birthday and the next Christmas, whereas my friend's just getting it for his Christmas present or something? But it really did kind of proved a good thing, because now, when it came to my first year in business, I was very cautious that I kind of had to say, I didn't really know what tax was. I don't think we all probably do when we start business, if you don't go to kind of business school or whatever. But I didn't really realize what it was. And obviously I've seen personal friends and colleagues and other people kind of start in business and earn a lot of money and not save the tax, go out, get the latest car, get the latest stuff. And then, the year later they get hit with a bill and they're like, and they're back to their 9 to 5 within a couple of years of doing stuff. So I think it was very important from an early age to learn to kind of, but don't be wasteful with money. Don't be, stupid. To this day, I mean, again, I have a mortgage. I have a house. We've got a beautiful house. I have a mortgage on that house. But apart from that mortgage, I don't owe anyone a penny. So I recently bought a new car, and out of principle, I know I'm probably stupid because I probably get a better deal financing it, but I can't do that. I have to own the thing. So whatever I do, I have to own it. I can't owe anyone money, and that's the kind of way I was brought up, and that's the way that I personally feel has done me well to today.
Absolutely, and I thank you for sharing, some of that advice, because I really do think it provides value to other people, and that's the name of the game. So, you were talking about how school wasn't for you, and while it seems like you weren't knocking education, you were just saying it wasn't for you, right?
Yes.
That being said, or formal education. That being said, we as entrepreneurs have to educate ourselves. We have to learn how to do things. We have to figure out how we're going to proceed on our entrepreneurial journey. In your opinion, what's the best way to educate yourself as an entrepreneur?
As an entrepreneur, for me, from personal experience, the only way I've learned is by doing. And again, I know that's cliche, but it's true. Like, you have to fail 20 times to make one thing work, or you have to throw shit at the wall 100 times to make one stick. Like, it's very cliche to say these phrases, but for me, that's all I know. No one, and I think that's part of why I love it as well, in a way, because my family and my friends currently don't really know what I do, and I almost love that. I love that feeling, like My dad didn't teach me this. My mum didn't teach me this. My friends did not teach me this. I taught myself all of this by myself, and I'm proud of that. And as you should be, as everyone, listening to this podcast and aspiring to do something with their life should be, because this is it's a hard space to crack into, but it's the best space, the most rewarding space. Definitely, it's very up and down, but it's very, very rewarding. And I just feel like, again, I hate to use the expression, but like, you just have to do. You have to take action. You have to fail. And as long as you see that as like a continual journey, and as long as you don't let the failure stop you, that's when entrepreneurship's not for you. Okay, so if you do a couple of things and you're that disheartened that you feel like you want to go back to a job, I'll be honest with you, you're probably better off going back to a job. If you get it in your mind and your mindset that you're on this journey for a long time and you will be successful. One of the things that always stuck with me, and a guy, a really, really amazing guy, I won't name him, but he owns a very successful affiliate network. And he said to me back in the day, he actually owned a large affiliate community as well. And he said to me back in the day, he said, do what you love and keep working at it, and don't worry about the money, because the money will follow. And that's true. Again, if you come into this thinking about money, it's not going to work for you. Like, the money will always follow. So educate yourself by doing, fail, learn upon that one onto the next one. What did you do wrong that time? Take some time to analyze. What did you do wrong? What should you be doing different this time? Ask advice. Just go out there and ask people. Like, that's another thing. Entrepreneurs are so scared of asking. There's some amazing, like, with modern technology, with social media, with forums, communities. Again, I'm a big, obviously, fan of communities and forums, but like with even social media, there's incredible groups. Like, I think, Ben, me and you probably met on an internet marketing group out there. We wouldn't be having this conversation if I wasn't putting myself out there and you putting yourself out there, or talking or asking questions. Like, just go and ask. There's some groups with 20, 30,000 people, like-minded people that don't mind helping you. Education, just ask, do, take action, and learn from what you're doing. And that's definitely the way I live my life, and how I feel is the best way. I mean, obviously there's courses, there's different things you can take, but nothing's as good as first-hand action, 100%.
Absolutely. And I agree 100%. If you're not out there actually doing it, and if you're not the one getting your hands dirty and putting yourself on the line, and you're taking that risk, it's really hard to have as good of a grasp of that concept or that business or whatever it is that you're doing as the person who's actually in the trenches doing it. Now, one thing that is a common theme that I see amongst entrepreneurs is, they want to learn, they're trying to learn, and they're trying to go through and build a business, but they have bills to pay. Okay, and they have to put food on the table, whether for themselves or for their families. How do you do that at the same time? Right? How do you generate income, provide, but also build a long-term business and fail like you were talking about?
People will tell you different things on this topic, and it's a great topic because you do hear different things. But for me, first case was I worked, so I had a full-time job as a chef. Now, if I can do it as a chef, working, like I said, 8 till 4 o'clock, 2-hour break, back in at like 5:30, 6 until 12 o'clock at night, and still do what I'm doing and break out of that cycle, then whoever's listening to this who, might work, and no disrespect to any job, people have to do it. It's amazing. We're just lucky that we broke that cycle. But like, if you're working hours and you might have children, just put like some time aside every day to do something. Like, my time aside was like 1 o'clock in the morning. My time aside was when I was 18, 19, my friends were going out drinking on the weekend, like going to clubs, having a good time. Like, I didn't go out. I obviously did from time to time. You have to reward yourself. But like, I was known for being that person who didn't go out, who like people didn't see for months on months because I wanted this badly, and you have to want it bad enough. But like, for people to say, if people come to me now and they say, look, how do we do it? We've got a full-time job. The first thing I'll say is, don't get distracted. There's so many distractions, so many shiny objects, so many different things that you can do. And the second thing I would say, just kind of touching on that point, thinking back to that quote that this guy said to me. I'll say his name, Ben Cagle. He's an amazing guy. He said to me, keep doing what you're doing, and the money will follow. So the second thing is, don't think about money. Okay, so yes, obviously money is important, but the money won't come straight away. If it does, you're very, very lucky. And those people who say to you like, do this and you'll become rich. It doesn't happen. I mean, 1 out of 1,000, it might happen. The real people who succeed are the people that graft and don't give up. So it's like, as long as you see this as a journey and put aside like 1 or 2 hours a day, whatever it may be, if you want this bad enough, you will find that time, whether you're tired, whether it's 10 o'clock at night, whether it's 6 o'clock in the morning before your job, whether it's in your lunch break, whether you're not seeing your friends on the weekend for sacrifice 6 months for the rest of your life. Like, put aside some time. Think about the money second, because money's not important first and foremost. What's important is actually doing stuff and failing and learning and then doing stuff, because eventually something will click. And the other thing I was mentioning about distractions was pick one thing. So whether that's something that you love, that helps. So if it's something that you love, but there's so many ways to make money online and so many ways to be entrepreneurial, pick one thing that interests you. For me, to start with, it was hip hop, it was rap music and communities. I love that, and it sounds silly, you've got some kid here. I don't look like your typical hip hop fan, but like I just used to love it, and I stuck to it. And all of a sudden, when someone came to me and said, the first person who came to me and said, we'll give you, I think it was probably $50 or something to put a banner on your website, I was like, what? No way! Like, this is nuts! Like, this is crazy. But yeah, I guess to summarize, stay away from distractions and just stick to one thing. So whether that's paid traffic, whether that's arbitrage, whether that's CPA marketing, whether that's e-commerce, whatever that one thing is, and whatever you decide to go into, read up everything you can. Listen to Audible on the way to work in your car. When you come home, practice setting up Shopify stores. Whatever that one thing may be, stick to it, because what you tend to do, and what a lot of people tend to do, is they'll see loads of different shiny objects. Oh, one guy on my Facebook said he made 10,000 off CPA, or one guy said he made 20,000 off Shopify. I'll try that. No, stick to one thing, become a master of it, whether or not you make money. Immerse yourself within that community, get in these Facebook groups, ask questions, get your name out there, get on forums, get in communities, and stick to that one thing, and don't worry about the money, because the money will always follow. Trust me. I believed in that ethos, and it's now the money's following, and I'm having a great time.
Absolutely. And I think there are a lot of good things in what you said, so I kind of want to pick it apart one piece at a time. You said that you should be always reading books and listening to Audible on your way to work and just immersing yourself in it completely. I agree 100%. I think that entrepreneurs, we need to immerse ourselves, right? Think about when you're learning a language.
Yeah.
You can either read a book and take a course, or you can go into a community where they just speak that language and learn like that.
It's a great example,
right?
Yeah.
So we as entrepreneurs have to just dive right in. You gotta take your fears, put them on the shelf, put them aside, and just go. Just do it. Just get started, right? So that being said, what books, maybe give a top 3, do you think have been the most impactful on you as an entrepreneur?
Sure. Just to touch on what you said as well, because it's such a good point. The one thing I always say as well to people is like, and I know it's easy to say once you've done it and taken the leap, but like, what's the worst that's going to happen? Okay, so if you take that leap, what's the worst that's going to happen? Okay, the worst that's going to happen is you're going to still be doing your job in the day, earning the same money. Okay, you might actually lose a little bit of money, but you can always make more money in your 9 to 5. You can always make more money. What's the best that's going to happen? In a year's time, in 2 years' time, if you stick to it, you'll probably leave your job. You'll be able to live your own lifestyle. You'll be able to travel. You'll have nice amount of money. You'll have a brand, a company, whatever it may be. So like, you've got to think, what is the worst thing that's going to happen to me? Again, everyone can make more money in your 9 to 5 or whatever that may be. So that's, yeah. But going on to the book subject, I'm probably not the best person to ask this question purely because I'm not a big book person. But what I do now get into, my business partner would kill me for saying this, because he's been for years saying you need to start reading, but it goes back to the educational thing. I can't sit there and read a book because my mind just wanders and wanders and wanders. But what I can do is listen to it, and Audible has been a really amazing thing for me, and I've got into it this last year. And anyone who doesn't like reading or can't concentrate on reading a book like me, I would definitely highly recommend Audible. Listen to it on the way to work, on traveling, when you're walking around, when you go into shops. It's great. The two main books that have really stood out to me since I've been on Audible. One is Oversubscribed by Daniel Priestley. I'm not sure if you've read it or listened to it. And basically, oversubscribed is about how to become an oversubscribed business. So how to have more demand than you can actually give out. So it's all about saying no to customers, but actually feeling great about it, and then actually having so much business you don't know what to do with it. And it's a really, really, really good book. There's some real key points in there about signaling, which is something I've become really, really interested in the last few months, and actually tested myself to really good. I was doing it before, but I didn't know I was doing it. But now he kind of, Daniel Creasy, went over these methods of signaling in the book. I've even enhanced that, and I can go into detail a few little case studies, but there's been some great ones recently that I've done that have been really successful. The second book, again, is by Daniel Creasy. I think he's a great author, really, really good. And that's purely on my side of things, because it's something that I want to enhance over the next year or so. But that was KPI, so key person of influence. And basically that's all about becoming a key person within whatever you're trying to do, getting yourself out there, getting your brand out there, which again, I kind of believe I've done to some extent, but nowhere near where I want to be. And his book has really given me some great tips. So those two books by Daniel Creasy, KPI and Oversubscribe, I would 100% recommend to anyone trying to start a business. I think Oversubscribes are fantastic. And the best thing about Oversubscribe is you can then literally take it to any niche. So I've got like a really, really good friend of mine, close friend of mine, who's a personal trainer. And I kind of do a little bit of mentoring for him, teaching him showing him a few things, how he can get more clients, more customers, blah, blah, blah. And I've picked things out of Oversubscribe and taken it to his business, not just my business, and he's seen the results instantly. It's adaptable for anyone. So whether you want to do internet marketing, whether you want to start up a restaurant, whether you want a chain of greengrocers, whatever it is, Oversubscribe will definitely speak to you. It's a great book.
Absolutely, and just to touch on it a little bit, I haven't actually read it, but something that you said about the book, it ties in nicely with what we're talking about. You were saying how you have to focus on that one thing, right? You have to pick that one thing you want to do, and be the best at it. Keep doing it. Persist in that direction.
Yes.
But that book seems like it's about getting a little bit more demand than you can actually handle. Having more demand than you have supply.
Yes.
So with all these things that are the shiny object syndrome, the actual shiny objects, how do you say no to those things, and how do you figure out what is that one biggest thing for you, right? Because different things are meant for different people. How do you say no, and how do you know which one is the right one?
Yeah, great question. I think you have to be comfortable with whatever that one thing is. There's no point picking a one thing that you don't enjoy. There's no point picking a one thing that you don't see a future in. He kind of preaches that you should go, instead of going broad and trying to become the king of everything, a few case studies he uses is like, you're better off having a tribe of 1,000 people who know who you are, trust what you do, and buy your products, than having a tribe of like 100,000 that don't really take an interest in you. So like, going niche, going small, like it can sometimes work massively in your favor. But to kind of touch on your question, how do you find what you want to do? I would always say start with something that you like doing. So there's no point whatsoever in starting up a restaurant if you don't know anything about restaurants, you don't have an interest in food or wine, and you've never been in the industry. It's pointless. It's not going to work. Online, obviously, we're talking. There's various different things, but if you're say, for example, into skateboarding, I'm just trying to pick things out of my head. If you're a skater, you love skateboarding, why not then pick something online like a Shopify, like e-commerce, and sell skateboards? Because you know that you love that product, it's an interest for you, you can post some great content, you can probably get yourselves known as a KPI within that industry, you can start networking with different skateboarders, bloggers who blog about skateboarding, and it's something that's actually going to drive you and keep you interested. For me, my now interest is on entrepreneurship, business at a higher level. But my one thing is communities. I love forums. I love communities. So I immerse myself within that space, and I actually built several communities, solved communities. My latest community is at 80,000 plus members. We own the biggest affiliate marketing community online, the fastest growing affiliate community. Now that wasn't built, of course, that was built over a love of affiliate marketing. I am an affiliate marketer. But really, the backbone to that was a community. I love communities. That's where it came from. I started this as a small community. More and more people asked to join it. And that's what I kind of grew. And 3-4 years later, like I say, we're now the biggest affiliate marketing community online, which is amazing. But yeah, I would definitely stick to something and then adapt it to whatever industry that may be. So like I said, skateboarding, it may be into a shop, it may be into running ads for local skateboarders or bloggers or professional skateboarders. You may want to get into Facebook, but then pick the skateboarding niche within Facebook because that interests you, just try and go a little bit more targeted down the line.
Absolutely. And I want to talk about your interest in communities, and I want to dig a little bit deeper, but I want to touch real quick on what you said about the skateboarding example, because I think that was a great example, right? If you're already a skateboarder, then you know what a good skateboard feels like. You know what it looks like. You know what quality is in that industry. And so you can go out and you can find customers. Let's say you want to sell your own skateboard, or you just want to sell the wheels, right? A replenishable product. People will keep coming back to you for that. Mm-hmm. But you know what you're looking for. You know how to communicate with real buyers because you yourself are in that industry. You're invested in it. You know about it. You love it. It's you know what quality is. So
exactly.
So I think what you said was brilliant. Pick what you know, because it cuts down on the learning curve, right? If you don't know how to run a restaurant and you don't like food or wine, you don't have an interest in that, it doesn't make any sense to go into that, right? Because you're probably not gonna like what you do. Now, if it's always been your dream to run a restaurant, by all means, go do it. Go do it. Best of luck to you, and I hope you're successful. But if your love is for fishing or skateboarding, why go start a restaurant? It doesn't really make sense. It doesn't really make sense.
Exactly. And especially with online marketing, there's so many methods of making money. There's so many different ways to generate income. But yeah, try and pick something that interests you, that you love, and then adapt, whatever the money making method is into that. So like I said, if it's skateboarding and you want to learn Facebook ads, go run Facebook ads for your local skate shops. Go run Facebook ads for some of the skaters who want to get more likes on their pages, the professional skaters, something like that. And we're obviously talking very general here, but it just kind of, we're proving a point that pick something you love, and there's always different things you can link into it.
Absolutely, and it ties back to what you said. Once you're doing the thing you love, you'll figure out a way to make money off of it. That's the last thing you should be worried about. Once you can start getting traction and start getting people interested, the money will follow. So, anyways, let's jump back into your story a little bit. We kind of got off on a few tangents, and I'm glad we did because we provided some value. But let's talk about your fascination with the internet. Why were you so fascinated with the internet, and why specifically rap music or hip hop rap music?
Yeah, I guess when I was younger, I was really into hip hop. I kind of said about this community that I started about rap music, but that was probably my first ever community, my first ever website, and I hope no one ever sees this website, by the way, because it was awful. But it was like an Eminem fan site, so I used to love Eminem, and I think it was on like Moonfruit. Do you remember Moonfruit? It's like one of those awful website building softwares.
Yeah, way back in the day.
I think they used like Dreamweaver and Moonfruit. It wasn't pretty, but luckily no one ever saw that. I'm sure on one of these podcasts, someone's going to go, "Wow, I did some research on you, and we've actually dug that website up." No, hopefully not. But yeah, I just loved why I love the internet. I love the internet because there's the freedom. I loved it because no one could tell me what I was doing on it. No one knew what I was kind of doing on it, and not like in a bad way. Just that, like I said, with my family, like they didn't know the first thing about creating a website. They wouldn't have a clue. If I sat my mum and dad down here today and said build a website, they'd look at me like, what the hell are you talking about? So like for me, it was amazing that I could do something that no one had taught me. No one had no one at school had taught me. And I could almost, I guess I wanted to kind of almost prove people wrong, if that makes sense. Like my teachers, who I didn't get on with, most of them, The education system, which I didn't really agree with and was kind of dead against, and still kind of am to this day. My parents, who kind of, were always very supportive, but kind of, forced me down a few certain routes to take as far as jobs, and they wanted me to go to university and college, and I didn't want any of that. And they never pressured me, but like that was what they kind of saw as being successful. But imagine if I could go off and do something on this amazing World Wide Web and do it for myself, and no one had even taught me that. And then I'd come home and show them some money. I remember like the first day. I think not the first day, but the first day I had a real profit online. I think I made about £500 in a day, which is like $800 or something like that, which is a lot of money. Still is a lot of money to me, considering back when I was a chef, I was getting paid like £1,000 a month for working like every hour under the sun. So I almost made the same amount in one time in a day than I did in a whole month. And I remember the first thing I did was ring my dad, and like I went up to my mum and dad's and I said, "Mum, look at this! Like, look what I can! Like, this is nuts! No one's even taught me how to do this! Like, this is crazy! This is crazy!" So I love the thrill, and I still do to this day. Like, I love the fact that I can do what I want. I can, I'm my own person. Obviously, we have a full team. I have business partners. I have investors, and various different people on our businesses, various different businesses we run. But like, it's still my ideas, it's still me, it's still the freedom I can do. If I want to start a new company and a new project, a website online tomorrow, I can do it. I don't think you can do that in many jobs. Again, we touched on like restaurants and stuff like that. If I wanted to start a restaurant tomorrow, I probably could, but like I'd have to go out and find a venue, I'd have to buy a place or rent a place, I'd have to find chefs, I'd have to find waitresses, produce, have to get it all in, design a menu, blah, blah, blah. And obviously there's loads of elements to creating successful businesses and websites online. But if I want a new website tomorrow, I can probably have it up. And that's what I love, the freedom, the kind of excitement, the rush. I always have to be working on something new. And it's great. It's an amazing industry. Love it.
That's awesome. And so you started off just being fascinated by the internet. And, for the various different reasons that you just mentioned, most of which all of which I agree with, the power to be able to do anything at any time from anywhere with Wi-Fi is just incredible. It is incredible. Yes. I truly think that the internet is freedom. It gives you the freedom to do whatever you want, right?
I feel so lucky, like every day.
Exactly. So that being said, how did you get started in your entrepreneurial journey exactly? Because you said you went from chef to kind of forums, community building. How did that actually go about happening?
Sure. So that journey, I can say it was quick. It wasn't. That journey took like 6 to 8 years for something to click and make it work. Now, this is why I'm saying, like, just take action. You'll fail, but something will click. As long as you're maintaining your income with a job, you'll be fine. Think of the long-term goal. Money will follow. Always think that money will follow. And eventually money did follow, which I was very, very lucky to have. I still feel I am lucky 4 or 5 years on, doing the amazing things that we're doing in our companies now. But how it kind of got started, in the first kind of websites I actually made money from were communities. So basically I had this hip hop community, and I fell into CPA marketing. And basically it's one guy that I had on the community hit me up and he said, like, do you know what CPA is? Do you know what cost per action marketing is? And I didn't have a clue, but we basically, back in the day, I think it was like a World Cup, so a football World Cup, and I'm a big football fan over here in the UK, and there was a World Cup, and we basically set up alongside my friend who I found through my community. Everyone I know now is like amazing. You meet so many people online. It's amazing to network. Ben, before this call, we just said that you're coming over to Wales, which is by me this year, and we're probably going to meet up for a few beers. It's incredible. Like, you meet so many cool people, and this person I met through my community. I mean, my current business partner now, who me and him, were together every single day, I met through Affiliate Fix, my community. It's mad. So sorry, going off topic, but I met this guy, and it was the Football World Cup, and we basically set up a CPA marketing campaign. Now, I'm not sure if you're familiar, Ben, but back in the day, there was these things called gateways. There still are, but a CPA gateway, so incentivized kind of gateways. And they were the annoying things. I hate to admit I used to do them, but they were annoying things that when you go onto a site and a little pop-up comes up over the content and it says, please fill out a survey in return for seeing the content. And we basically gave away, we used we were very innovative back then. We used our heads and we thought, right, let's give away some England shirts, some England football shirts on a Facebook page about England football because it was the World Cup. And we said, we're going to do a raffle, enter your email address. And this is how silly it is. Like back then, we didn't even think to actually capture the email address. Like the field for the email was just a field. Like we didn't even gather that data. Like that's how crazy it was. So step one, you entered your email address. Step two, it just said to confirm your entry, fill out a survey, and basically we got paid like $1-2 per survey that was filled out. Now we managed to build quite a big Facebook page around the football. It was a lot easier to build Facebook pages back in the day. Obviously, everything wasn't regulated as much on Facebook. We weren't doing anything like naughty or illegal because we actually did physically send these shirts out. We actually gave shirts away. We had people take pictures on Facebook of them in the shirt, and then we put it up on Facebook and say we're giving away another shirt. But we started making money. Like people were filling out the surveys, and to me, it was mind blowing. Like I said, that first like £500 day, I was like, oh my God, it's incredible. Like we were using a platform called CPA Lead, affiliate network. And I don't know about you, Ben, but if you were ever on CPA Lead back in the day, every time you made a commission, it would make a little sound. So it would go like bing, 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 or something like this. And I can remember being sat in my apartment at like 1 o'clock at night. I just finished chef job, like I'm sweating. I got horrible clothes on still, stink of food. But I was like on my laptop trying to see these stats. And my flatmate was getting so pissed off because all he kept hearing was bing, 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 bing. I was like, some more money. I was like, this is crazy. He was like, how are you doing this? How are you doing this? And yeah, that's the first way I made money online. And basically after that, what I did is because of my love for communities and forums, I started a CPA marketing forum. Now this originally was meant to be just for myself, my friend Jonesy, who was doing this with me, and a couple of other people, like a closed mastermind group, just in a forum fashion, because that's all I knew. That's all I knew how to do. I didn't really know how to even start a website, but I knew how to start a V-Bulletin forum, put a logo on it. That was about it. Created this forum called CPA Fix, and all of a sudden, loads of people started asking to join. I don't know why. We put it on CPA Lead. They had like a chat box, so we put on the forum, if anyone's interested in this mastermind, please let me know. And lo and behold, we had so many people say, can we join? Can we join? I think in the first month, we did like 200 signups, which to me was mind blowing. It's like, I didn't even want this to be a public thing. And people started signing up. And, I think 6 months down the line, we had one of the affiliate networks, some guy who's actually turned out to be a very close friend of mine and a kind of mentor figure to me. He came, approached me and said, tell you what, Oliver, I'll give you $500 if I can place my banner on your forum for a month. And I was like, gobsmacked. I was like, what? This happens? This is what people do? I was so naive to it. But I started this forum, and to be honest, CPA Fix is now what Affiliate Fix is today. It's been going for probably 4 or 5 years. We started taking it seriously probably 3 years ago. We're at 80,000 members plus. We have over 1,000 affiliate companies listed on the resources. We have over 400,000 discussions. We have several hundred people signing up every day. And it's really now the established affiliate community online, which I'm grateful and very lucky for. But God bless CPA Lead and giving away free England shirts.
That's awesome, man. That's a great story. And so, from when you started and getting to the success that you got to, what do you think, and it may have been the time, the 500 pound day, but what do you think was your best memory of that whole build-up period to from when you started to where you're up now? What was your best memory from that?
Yeah, I think that day takes a lot of beating. I mean, I'm not going to mention numbers, or I'm not trying to just say this because I do, but I've had a lot bigger days than that now. But that's the day that sticks in my mind, because it was like, shit, I've just made what I make, half of what I make in a month within like 2-3 hours. And the best feeling was I made this whilst I was working. Like I was at my chef job and I came home and checked my stats, and I made like 300-400 quid, and then I stayed up the whole night watching the stat clock go up to like £500 because I was so obsessed with it. So to me, that is definitely one memory that sticks in my head. But like, there's so many different things that, and for me, I'm I try and be as humble as I can, and like try and be as ground and down to earth as I can, because I feel like I haven't achieved anywhere near what I want to achieve and what people around me are achieving. But you'll always find that, you have to do yourself, but also obviously, take admiration for other people. But I'm very driven, and I'm nowhere near where I want to be. And, in 10 years, I've hopefully reached some goals, and I've got some big goals to reach, even this year, which I set myself. But I think that day was a very good day. The other big day was, a lot of people listen to this, and a lot of people I've spoken to, we touched on at the beginning of this call, get stuck in a cycle. So you work for your 9 to 5, whatever that may be. I use 9 to 5 in a loose sense, because hours are hours. As a chef, I was working stupid hours. You may be a waitress, you may be working a shop, you may be at a call center, you may be doing whatever. And these jobs are fine. These are fine. But if you're listening to this podcast, the gist of it is you probably don't want to be doing that. You want to break out of that. So my one of my biggest memories is actually I was stuck in that cycle. I was too frightened to tell my boss I wanted any more money. I was too frightened to say to my parents I was unhappy. I was lying to myself. I was depressed. I wasn't really happy at all. I was enjoying much more what I was doing online. And I was shitting myself, sorry to use the language, but I was shitting myself like to tell my boss that I wanted to quit. And I think that took me probably about 3 months, going in every day saying, I'm going to do it today. I'm going to do it today. I'm going to do it today. And, I didn't have the guts to do it, because you're stuck in that cycle. What happens? What happens if I don't get any money? What happens if this fails? So one big release off my shoulders and weight off my shoulders and memory that I do have is the day that I went in, and actually after 10 years of working for nothing against the work. The company I work for are amazing. I'm still really close with them. They're an amazing family, and they did amazing things for me. And they helped me pave a lot of things that are in, I do now today. That they're great guys, but the release I had and the relief I had when I went in and actually quit and made a go of this, I'll never forget that day. I think I was like flying home. I was like, way.
Absolutely. And, you talked a little bit earlier about, from an early age, you've had to manage your money, but you've had to want it, right? And you really have to, you kind of have to have that killer instinct. Not kind of, you have to have that killer instinct if you're going to succeed, right?
Yes.
I think that plays a huge part in making that transition, in taking that leap, right? So for people who may have a hard time bringing that piece of them out, or developing that, or just, getting into that mindset of just having that killer instinct, what advice can you give them? What can you offer, based on your experience or your knowledge, to help them get over that hump, to just really get started?
Sure. I mean, we've said it multiple times, but the one thing you can't get stuck on, and I know it's easy to say because it's the thing that makes the world go round, but the one thing is money. Like money, no one's gonna tell you that they're not in this for money. Okay, so I'm gonna be plain honest. Like money is a huge part of it. It is, and whoever tells you it isn't is probably lying. Money is a huge part of it. But for me, like the thing is success. So like the journey I'm going on, the thrills I get, the drive I get every morning I wake up, I'm excited to go to work. Yes, you remember your big kind of paydays, when you have a great day or a great month, or you sell a website, but the more you do, the less the money actually matters, and the less you kind of count it and look at it. But to kind of make that jump, don't always focus on the money. I mean, focus on what you want out of your life. So like, you only live once, and like, what is the worst thing that's going to happen? Like if you go and quit your job? Yes, I do highly recommend, and again, we touched on it earlier, I do highly recommend doing something alongside your job because you need income. But when you get to a level where you're actually making a little bit of money, imagine here's another thing, right? Imagine you're working 1 hour a day, and say for people who are listening to this podcast or whatever, they're working 1 hour a day on something that they like doing aside from their job, and they may be earning like $200 a month. Okay, that's great. That's a really good starting point. Now this is the thing I had to get into my head when I made the leap. So you're making $200 a month, say for example, working 1 hour a day. Imagine what you could do if you were actually working 10 hours a day on that thing. And that's what you have to kind of think, like, yes, I may be earning $1,500 or $1,000 a month from my day job and only 200 from my other job, but like 5% focus is probably on your side hustle, like is on your dreams and what you actually want to achieve. Like imagine if you put 100% into that. So anyone who's young, I would just advise to do it, when you've made a little bit of money, because what's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is it's going to fail. You go back, you get another job. If you're really that bothered, your probably old job will probably take you back. As long as you're amicable about doing it, don't go in there and go, fuck you, like I'm leaving this job. Like just say why you want to do it. Most people will respect you, and if they don't, they're probably not worth working for in the first place. The worst thing that's going to happen is that you're going to be back working another job and you give this another shot. But like by the fourth, fifth time, hopefully it happens a lot before that, but something will click. And if you can focus like 100% of your energy on doing something instead of like 10%, imagine what results you're going to have out of it. Immerse yourself, start to network. Networking is amazing, like especially with social media. I mean, back when I was getting into this probably like 10 years ago, Facebook was around, but we didn't have all these groups, all these networking things. I never went to events and stuff. It was a lot kind of harder. That's why I fell into the community space, because back then that was the social media. And obviously I'm still a big fan of communities, but pick that one thing, like we said, get into the communities, go to events. Nothing's stopping you going to an event, even if you've got a full-time job. Nothing's stopping you on the weekend, catching a flight, having a little bit of a holiday or a couple of days away and going to an event, meeting people, networking, getting your face known, shaking people's hands, speaking to people. Just ask questions. Like you have to want it. That's another thing. You really have to want it. I feel like if you're sat here on the edge thinking, oh, is this for me? Is this not for me? The likelihood it's probably not, because this isn't easy. There's a lot of toughs. There's a lot of ups and downs. Being an entrepreneur is like, yes. Oh, no. Like there's so many ups and downs, and like one day you'll wake up and you'll feel on cloud nine. The next day something will happen and you'll be as low as you can be. But like you have to want it, and that's definitely something you need to get into your mind. If you think long term and you're not always focused on the money, it's more about the journey. It's more about what you will achieve. You can do it. Anyone can do it. But you have to definitely want it.
Absolutely. And I agree with you 100% that everybody can do it. It's just a function of if you're willing to put in the time and effort to see it done, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody's gonna hold your hand throughout the whole process. It's a journey. It's a tough journey. That's why not everybody's cut out for it. But if you are willing to believe in yourself and to harness what's inside, then you can absolutely do it. And so I'm glad you said that. But anyways, let's keep talking about what you're doing. We talked a little bit about your past and kind of how you got to where you are now. But what exactly are you working on now?
Sure. Okay, so we have several companies. I'll kind of mention the kind of more out-front ones, just to kind of give your listeners a brief background. So myself personally, I run a company called Affiliate Inc., which under that company, we basically are in the affiliate marketing space. We have software. We also have a community called Affiliate Fix, which some people may have not heard of. So Affiliate Fix is a free community and resource for affiliate marketers and performance marketers. As I mentioned, we're the fastest growing affiliate community online, and actually now the biggest and most active community online. We also have a software that we acquired called AffKit, AffKit.com, which is a tool set for affiliate marketers, which we recently, about a couple of weeks ago, did a big product launch with, and we're just kind of lining up where we're taking this now. I also own a design and development company with my business partner, Andy, where we have a full team of design and developers called the Landing Page Guys. That's also focused around the affiliate marketing kind of lead generation landing page spectrum. So we do bespoke landing pages for anyone from your kind of Fortune 500 company down to your general affiliate. We tend to work with a lot of merchants and advertisers on products, on taking their offline product and bringing it online. So we build out full funnels, integrate with any CRMs, tracking platforms and such. But that has transitioned into our latest startup, which we started a year ago, which I only announced about 2 weeks ago. So I'm happy to kind of talk about this one, is a company called PageSource. Now, PageSource.com is something we've been working on for the past year, as I mentioned. and it is a landing page generator and software online. So it's a drag and drop. You have all the abilities to integrate your tracking, your CRMs, everything in one place. You can see all your conversions. We host your pages for you. We're giving you loads of templates as well. And we're kind of after everyone, but we're mainly after the kind of affiliate marketing, direct response media agencies. So your bigger companies who drive millions of hits a week. We want you to have your whole team inside the software. We've kind of used what we've learned and built up, having a huge client base from landing page guys over the last 3-4 years. We know what converts, we know what landing pages work, and we slowly transitioned that into now a SaaS, software, which is PageSource, which is due to launch this year, which I'm super excited about.
That's awesome. That's awesome, and congratulations on the launch.
Thank you.
That's really exciting. So, we're talking a lot about landing pages and what you're doing. Let's provide some value on this call, okay?
Sure.
In your opinion, how do you fully optimize and optimize for conversions a landing page?
Yeah, good question. So we have something that we like to call in our company the blueprint. Now, every designer and developer before they work for us, and we remind them on a kind of weekly basis, is they have to read and stick by this blueprint. Now, landing page design and development is a very tough subject. It's very tricky because we could build something that we believe is going to convert and it might not. And that's how up and down it is. There's no set wireframe, there's no set page that's proven to convert. Nothing, sometimes ugly pages convert a lot better than amazing looking heavily graphics pages. But what we believe in is if you build your pages on this blueprint, you're going to give them the best kind of starting point. So before you even start, these are the things that we kind of run through, and I'll run through a few with you on the call. If people want to look into this a bit more, we actually did a talk in London a couple of weeks ago about this blueprint, so maybe I can give you the link, Ben, you can put it below the video or something, that'd be great.
I'll put all your links down in the description.
Amazing. So I'm going to run through a few things, the most important things. First and foremost, what we think the most important factor is page speed. So there's a really cool tool online called gtmetrics.com, and that will basically give you a results of how fast your landing page loads. Now, I can't remember the stat, but if you watch the talk that Ben's going to put below this video, there's an amazing stat that per 1 second that it takes to load your site, you lose something like 27% of your audience, which is nuts. So the longer your site loads, the less people are going to see it. So page speed is ridiculously important. So go onto GT Metrics, test your page. It has to load very, very quick. Secondly, obviously, this is a very obvious one, but you'd be amazed at how many clients at landing page guys come to us with unresponsive pages. So what I mean by that, if you're not aware, is it has to work on mobile, tablet, and desktop, and not just any mobile. It has to work across all different mobiles, Android, iPhone, all different versions of mobiles, all different versions of tablets, because everyone's now on their phone, they're on their tablet, they're also on desktop, but your page has to be fully responsive. Now, what feeds into that, which is point 3, is cross-browser compatibility. So again, as well as a lot of devices, there's also lots and lots of browsers, but also lots of versions of those browsers. Now, it's nuts to think that people still use Internet Explorer. I hate the fact that they do, but especially the older generation. So let's say, for example, you're doing lead generation or something, and you're targeting, older generations for life insurance quotes or disability quotes or whatever that may be. Most of your visitors, if you look at analytics, will probably still be on Internet Explorer, but the way that Internet Explorer renders pages is awful. However, you have to make sure that your pages look really good across all browsers, because we've seen before, we'll code a perfect page, as in perfect code, pixel perfect code. And that's another good thing you can do. You can go onto W3C validation and check your code, because the cleaner your code is, the better it will look on browsers. We've seen pages that look incredible on Chrome, they look fine, everything's where it should be, but you go on an older version of Internet Explorer and the button's missing, the most important element, or the form is down the bottom of the page. It's crazy. So I hate Internet Explorer, but go on to Browser Shots. I think it's browsershots.org or maybe browsershots.com, and basically what that will do is you can input your URL and it'll spit out your page as it's viewed on all the top browsers. You can then get your code, or a developer, or if you're good with code, you can just make some multiplications, and you'll be amazed at how many things look stupid on different browsers. If you fix them, it's only that small percentage we're after. That small percentage could be the difference between a profitable campaign and a negative campaign. So 4 things there: page speed, responsiveness, cross-browser compatibility, and clean validated code. There's loads of other things I can go into, but I would watch that video. But those 4 things, first and foremost, have to be done, especially in 2017, have to be done.
Absolutely. And so, you probably have a lot of interaction with the people who use your landing pages.
Yes.
So you probably have a lot of good insight on the people who are most successful with different types of landing pages. So could you maybe talk about the importance of understanding your industry and your business and how that relates to the type of landing page that best suits you?
Sure, yeah. Again, it kind of depends what you're doing because it's such a broad topic, like we do pages for everyone. Like we do sales pages for health products, we do lead generation pages, we do webinar pages, opt-in pages. But I still think that blueprint's like the most important thing. There's definitely like things that you can do to increase your conversions that should be standard on all pages. So like you have to have like a very strong call to action. Hero shots work brilliantly. Hero shot is normally on the left, top left of the page. Your form should normally be on the top right of the page if you serve a form. There's little tips like trust seals, like made in America if you're selling a product, if it is made in America, 100% money back guarantee, like those things still work a lot. The AIDA principle is one thing that people should look into. My business partner loves that principle, but there's a lot of various different things that you can do. Keep like I say, keep your call to action very strong, be very clear about it. There's some cool sites you can go on that can actually have people test your page. So like people come on to, I can't remember the name of them, but they'll be in that presentation, but people come onto your page. I think there's one called something like the 5-second test, and they'll just give you your feedback of like what they see first, what they'll tell you what they think you're trying to do on that page. And it's so important because you really need to get your mind into the kind of insight of your user, because you can stare at a page that you've been building for weeks and it makes sense to you. But like if you're seeing this as a stranger, it may not. So yeah, I mean, it depends what you're selling. There's so many different types of products and offers and CPA offers and whatever there may be. But yeah, it's more about getting that back end of blueprint right, that your page loads quickly. There's a very clear call to action. Your page speaks to someone. Get personal. Choose a picture that's actually going to hit someone's emotions. Choose a subject that actually, again, if you're doing like insurance claims, I choose wording that actually speaks out to someone. Don't just do generic, like get your claim here. You want to actually really speak to people, hit their emotions. And again, like speaking on call to action and kind of copy, talk people through what they're going to do. It's amazing. Like we've run some case studies before where we've had like buy now on a button and we split tested it against like grab your product, whatever product name now before it runs out or something. Click here on the button. I'm just trying to give you examples, but like that version, the second version converts so much better than just your generic buy now. Like walk people through exactly what they're going to do. That tends to work as well. But definitely watch that blueprint video. It's pretty helpful.
Absolutely. So just talking to you for a little bit about landing pages, it seems like you're very passionate about it. You know a lot about it. Excuse me. And I really appreciate that and respect that. But how do you, as an individual, as a representative of your company, how do you stay on the leading edge of the industry? Because, like you said, there are different browsers, there are different versions of the browsers, there's different platforms, there's mobile, there's tablet, there's desktop, and all of those interact with each other in weird ways, and there's always new things coming into play.
Yes,
how do you, and vicariously your company, stay on the leading edge of that industry?
Yeah, it's a good question. Again, we run tests through this blueprint, so we'd always make sure these things are right. But as far as like technology, there's always, like you say, there's always new traffic sources, there's always new methods, there's always, a big one now is programmatic, basically where you can take like something from a Google search and input it onto your page, and you can get like really personal with people. Like that's a huge thing at the moment. And to be honest with you, the only way you can really do that kind of research is by speaking to your clients. So it's about, constant communication with your clients. What's working, show me examples. If you've got an example of something, show it to me. We'll do it for you. Because they hold the data. We don't hold the data. We don't actually physically push paid traffic to these pages. It's our clients who do that. So it's all about really keeping, we wouldn't be in business if we didn't go back to our clients and talk to them. Most of our big clients we talk to on a daily basis, because if we didn't talk to them and ask them, did that page convert? What was good about that page? What do we need to do on the next version of that page? What do we need to do in a split test? Then typically their page probably wouldn't convert. It wouldn't evolve. Landing pages are an art. Like, it's an ever-evolving cycle. Like, there's so many things you can do. Like, you can install VWO and do some really cool split testing stuff. You can actually A/B test. There's loads of stuff you can do, but it's all about, like you say, keeping up with that. And as a business, as a company, the way we do that is by basically just reaching out to our clients, the people, as you said before, are in the trenches who are actually pushing the traffic, getting the results, asking them. We don't go and say, we want to see your data, we want to see all your analytics, we want to see this. We just say, did that work? What could we improve on? What are you being seen out there? And they in turn go and ask, like, a lot of our product owners, guys who own, like a health product or, pet product, whatever it may be, will go to the affiliate network that they're running through and they'll say, what's the highest converting landing page on your network at the moment? And, they'll tend to give them a link. They send it to us. We analyze that page. What can we do differently? What's on their page that's not on our page? And we kind of take it from there.
Absolutely.
But communication is everything.
Absolutely. And, if anybody who's listening needs help with their landing page or needs some more guidance or needs help, I definitely highly encourage you to reach out to Oliver.
Thank you.
He's an expert and he can definitely point you in the right direction and help you. That being said, we talked a little bit about your past. We talked about what you're currently doing, and you said you had some big plans. 10 years out or whatever.
Of course.
What are those big plans? Where do you see yourself going, and where do you see your business going? Independently of yourself, because there's the personal and then there's the business. So where do you see both of those two entities going?
Yeah, I mean, myself personally, because as you said, there's two different entities. With my businesses, there's a company attached, there's business partners attached. So that's a bigger picture. Well, not a bigger picture, but that's a bigger group of people. Whereas myself, alongside those, I really love brand. I think brand's so strong. I think you should be branding yourself. Ben, you're branding yourself. I'm branding myself. We wouldn't be doing this podcast if we weren't focused on our personal brand as well as our company's brand. And that's what I really enjoy. I love building up my brand. I really want to. I've done quite a few talks, but I really want to do more talks, speaking events. I feel like I can offer value. I really want to do something within the educational system again, just because, like I said, I don't really necessarily agree with it. So if there's any way I could influence that with what I think should be done, especially in the UK, I would love to do that. But personally, being a KPI in my industry, building up my brand, because I feel that's another thing. Like, brand is so important, personal brand is so important to me, because if people follow my company, that's great. But if they don't know that I'm behind that company, when I sell that company, if I exit, if I, whatever happens with that company, I'm back to square one. Whereas I've always believed in building up my personal brand and my name, because if people follow me, if I sell that company, that just enhances my brand, and then I do something else and those people still follow my journey. So it's all about a journey. It's all about being successful. So my goals are just to continue on the journey I'm being. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily, and I don't want people to listen to this and think, I don't appreciate stuff or appreciate where I am right now. But I personally, to myself, I don't see myself as being majorly successful yet. I've got so much more that I want to achieve. And hopefully things, like I said, in the next year that I'm going to achieve, which I'm really excited about. And company-wise, our main focus now is page source. We're really, really excited just to get it out there, just to kind of take this journey. This is our first proper, as I would kind of say, inverted commas, proper startup, where, we've got a product, we've got a SaaS that we've been building for the last year. I want to take this to market. I can't wait. I just want to grow this product to be a multi-million-dollar recurring SaaS model within the next 12 months, alongside my business partner and our team. And that's my immediate focus. But to me, I just want to be successful. But for me, if you were to ask me what I believe is successful, it's not monetary. I believe success is longevity. So if I'm having this conversation with you in 10 years, I believe I've been successful.
Absolutely. That's a great answer. And I like that you take a very long-term approach in the things that you do, because there are a lot of entrepreneurs out there that I see, because you said you do some mentoring. Some people come and ask me different things, and usually the biggest piece of advice that I always give is to think of your business on a bigger time scale. Think of it on a longer, in a longer time frame, where you're not just worried about right now. You're not worried about this month, but you're worried about the next 10 years, the next 5 years, the next 3 years. And so I'm glad you said that. And I wish you the best of luck in all of your business and personal ventures.
Thank you.
Absolutely, man. So I have 2 more questions for you.
Yeah.
It's been a great interview. I really do appreciate your time. First question is, what do you want to leave behind as your legacy?
Well, that is a big question. Let me think. As my legacy, again, to be honest, it's more about kind of what I want to achieve in life for me. And of course, money does come into that. I've said that openly. I am money driven, but I'm more driven by success. And I've just said to you, success to me isn't monetary. Success is longevity. So I'd love to be speaking to you in 20, 30 years. You come over to Wales, we go for a pint, and we say, "Oh, do you remember that podcast we did 30 years ago, Ben?" And me and you to have achieved great things since then. So, I'm not. As far as leaving a legacy, I'd love to leave products. I'd love to leave businesses that people can attach to say, Oliver Kenyon started that or co-founded that company. He sold it. He made that space better. He made that space better. Take Affiliate Fix, for example. I only ever started that company to benefit people, to give them a free resource. To be a friendly community, to help other people make money. As far as, I keep mentioning this education thing, one day I would really, really like to, maybe when I'm on a bigger platform, to really look into that, because I don't feel like the education system is correct, especially here in England. I can't comment on the US because I haven't been in it. So if I can leave something behind that changes that system, that would be amazing, because I feel like I've almost been treated, not badly, but treated wrongly in the way I was educated and brought up, and I feel like they're still doing it, and I feel like it could be done so much better, and it would make the world such a better place. So that's one thing I feel very passionate about, and even more so now that I'm getting a bit of a platform over the last few years. That's something I really want to explore. So that would be something I would love to change and leave behind me. But ultimately, I just want to be successful. I want to treat people well. My biggest thing in business, and I'm amazed I haven't actually mentioned this, because this is one kind of thing I stand by, is karma is real. No disrespect to anyone else. I don't believe in religion. I don't believe in anything like that. But for me, I do strongly believe in karma. I believe if you treat people good, you'll get treated good back enough. And it doesn't have to be an instant thing. If I treat someone good and show someone the way today, maybe in 20 years it'll come back to me. But I do believe in karma. I've always believed in helping people and giving back. And in return, I feel like I've had enough karma back already. I feel very lucky to do what I do.
Absolutely. And, I definitely agree with you that the more good things that you put out into the world, the more things that you give, the more that you allow to come back, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of people say that there's a give and take, but I like to think of it as a give and give, right? Because if you're giving to your customers, you're giving to your community, you allow them, you give them a foundation to then give back to you.
And it works on such a smaller level as well. Yeah, you're 100% right. Even on a one-to-one basis, It works. We have clients and people who we do stuff for free because we know that it's going to come back to us. They're going to be using us in a year's time, or even on like a smaller level with business associates that I talk to, we don't actually do monetary business with, but they say, I need this. Okay, it's done. And because I know that, I'm not banking on it, but I know that if it's 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, I can get on the phone and call them, ask them back for a favor, and it will come back to me. So karma is definitely real.
Absolutely. So, I have one more question for you. Again, great interview. We provided a lot of value, and I really do appreciate your time. But is there any part about yourself that you think is an important piece of who you are that I did not ask you about today? In other words, what did I miss?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I feel the last question kind of opened that up a bit because I hadn't mentioned the karma thing, and that is one of my big things. I've mentioned a lot of things on this interview, but that is definitely one thing that I kind of live by. I feel like you should always help people out when you can, and eventually it will come back. And again, it doesn't have to be like a direct relationship. If someone who's new into marketing comes and asks me a marketing question, I will try and answer it to my best ability, and I don't expect that person to come back to me. But I feel like the whole thing works in a cycle, because I feel like in the next 6 months or a year, someone maybe who I need advice from will then come back to me because I've done that. So I do believe in that full cycle. Maybe that's one thing we haven't really touched on. But no, apart from that, I am who I am. I put everything out there. I'd like to touch a bit more on the personal brand thing. I think that's very, very important. I do believe that everyone should own their name.com. I do believe that everyone should probably be blogging, especially in this generation. Like, everything is about content. Back in the day when I was writing like my first blog, everything had to be so polished and everything had to be like amazing content. But now it's all about social media, quick content, videos, quick insights, tips. Like, you have to be everywhere, and that's quite hard to be. But like, I do believe you should start building a personal brand. And because people, like I say, follow you, and then everything ties off of that. You're like the top of the chain, and then everything kind of grows off of you, and you can people can follow your journey. But no, Ben, it's been a real pleasure, great interview, and thank you so much for having me on. It's a great show.
Absolutely, Oliver, and again, it has been my pleasure to have you on the show. I actually thought of one more question that I'd like to ask. You seem like you're wearing a lot of hats, right? You have your own personal brand, you have a bunch of different businesses, and then you're just doing so many things. What do you, or who do you see yourself as, right? Do you see yourself as an entrepreneur? Do you see yourself as a business owner, as a marketer? Who do you see yourself as if you had to describe yourself?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. It's one that I've struggled with in the past, because to pinpoint that, your own personal kind of like mission statement, and it's something I'm going through at the moment, because I'm actually rebranding my personal website and choosing a kind of direction to really go for. But to answer your question, businessman, entrepreneur, I see myself as an entrepreneur because I get enjoyment out of growing things and doing new things. If something's standing still, I can't stand it. So like, a businessman may own a business that may earn X amount of money for X amount of years, and they're happy just doing that. I feel like an entrepreneur is someone who always wants to get excited about doing something new, wants to take new opportunities, grab new opportunities, work on something. And that's me. Like, I constantly have to be working on. That's why I have so many hats, because I'd get bored. That's why at school I got bored. I didn't listen to the class because I wasn't interested. Like, I have to have so many things, not so many things, because you can get more now, and I've done that. I've had to sell things and tear things down a bit. But for me personally, I do see myself as an entrepreneur. I have to be working and be excited about doing new things, and that's where I kind of position myself. But as far as like in my kind of industry where I see myself as a KPI, I feel like now my own back to the community and stuff is to help others. Like, I want to help others. I want to help people break out of the cycle that we mentioned earlier in this conversation, that when they're working, I want to help people take action, and I want to like make it not so scary to take action. Like, it's a doable thing. What's the worst that's going to happen? So quite soon, when my blog relaunches, we're actually going to have like a kind of really cool group. And I'm not just upselling this, I'm just saying this because you've kind of asked me that question, but the group's going to be called Think, Action, Plan. Now, most people would think it would go think, plan, action, but I really believe in thinking, taking action, and then you plan. You know, it's like the same old saying, you know, ready, go, set. You set yourself after you've taken that action. So get in there, get stuck in, and that's what I want to help people do. I really want to help people change their lives, become entrepreneurs themselves, or become online business people and make some money, because I feel we're in such a lucky position to be our age, and have this opportunity where you can literally do what you want online and make some money. And I don't mean that, I don't take that sentence lightly, because I know it's not easy, but our parents weren't offered that opportunity, and we are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree 100%. And, you know, if ever anybody listening thinks to themselves, well, you know, I can't compete with those people like Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk or Bill Gates. Those guys came from nothing. I mean, they did not come from wealth. They earned it themselves. And in one lifetime, the same lifetime that you and I have, Oliver, in the same lifetime that anybody else is listening to out here, you have time. You have the ability to do it. It comes from within, right? So harness that, bring that out, and just do it. Just go for it. Take action, like Oliver said. So take inspiration in what we've said today. I hope you learned something from this. I hope you can take something of value out of this, because life is short, and the best time to plant an oak tree is 20 years ago, but the second best time is today. So start today. Your entrepreneurship journey is the same way. Best time to start was back then, but the next best time is today. So I challenge everybody to, you know, take the next step in whatever they're doing, whether it be to continue on your journey or to start that journey, or whatever it may be. Keep going at it. So anyways, Oliver, I want to thank you very much for coming onto the show. Again, I'm going to put all of Oliver's links down in the description below. Go check it out. Go check out Paid Shorts. Go check out Landing Page Guys. Go check out all the affiliate marketing resources that Oliver has. And then, you know, of course, I'd highly recommend you getting in touch with Oliver. He's a great guy, very smart entrepreneur, very successful. So this has been another Project Egg interview. Today we've been talking with Oliver Kenyon from England, and have a good day.